Hi, I'm Miss Haley with the Huntsville-Madison County Public Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make a simple optical illusion. Optical illusions are super duper fun. They basically trick your brain into thinking you're seeing something that you're not, hence an illusion. And it does this by kind of tricking what your eyes can perceive, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. This one has to do with animation in a way, and we'll get to that later as well. For this activity, you're going to need something round that you can trace. We're not actually going to be using this lace in the project, but I'm going to trace the round bottom of this in a minute. You'll need a pencil to do that tracing, some scissors, some markers. I'm going to be making a goldfish in a tank today, which is why I have these colors, but you can use any colors you want, and you can also make almost any image that you want as long as it follows the rules that we're going to go over. So you'll need some markers. Crayons would also work. You'll need a glue stick, and you'll need some sort of round, thin, long stick. So I'm using a straw. It is round and thin and long. You could also use your pencil. You could totally use your pencil for this. You could use, if you have like a wooden dowel or skewer, you could use that. Just if you make sure you're using that. I'm not using mine today because, as you see, it got broken. And so that's kind of splintery, and I don't want to splinter. So if you are using a wooden dowel, just make sure that it's clean and it's smooth and that you're not going to get any splinters, because what you are going to do is you are going to roll your stick in your hand back and forth like that. So whatever you're using, you need to make sure you can do that with it. And you don't want it to be too thick. Any thicker than a straw or a pencil is really too thick. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing your stick. And then the last thing you need is some blank white paper. It does need to be blank and white, so it can't be lined paper. And I'm using cardstock today because it's a little thicker and it's a little sturdier. It will hold up better as I'm spinning. But you can use regular computer paper as well. That will work too. Cardstock is just a little bit sturdier is all. So to start out with, I am going to trace my circle shape twice onto my paper. There's one. And you do want to trace your circles rather than freehand drawing them, because we want them to be pretty much the same size. We want them to be uniform and the exact same as much as we can get them. We can trim them later once they're glued together, but you want to be as close to the same as you can. So the next thing you're going to do with these circles is you are going to cut them out. Try to cut along the line rather than to either side of it. That way you can make sure that you're going to stay even and your shapes are going to match. They'll probably be a little bit off. I don't think anybody cuts perfectly. If you have at home a circle punch, maybe mom or dad is a crafter or someone you live with does crafts, if they will let you use it, ask first. You might have a circle punch. This is about 2.5 inches wide, maybe 3. So you could do that as well. That will get a very, very even and exact circle. But I do not have one, so we are cutting today. Once you are done cutting, or as you're cutting, you want to be thinking about what you want to draw. And the important thing is that you're going to draw the environment on one side, and you're going to draw what's in the environment on the other. So on one circle, I'll draw my fish tank. It might be an ocean. I might just go with an ocean instead of a fish tank, just do the whole circle. And then on the other side, I'll put my fish. So my fish is in the fish tank or ocean. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do. But you could do other things. You could do a sky on one circle and a bird on another circle. You could do a cave on one side instead of eyes on the other. It's up to you. Use your imagination and decide what you want to draw. You can also do exactly what I'm doing, and that is fine too if you want to do that. So we are going to start by doing my fish tank. I am going to do a fish tank. I have decided I'm going to do a fish tank. So I want it big. I want it to take up most of my circle. So that's going to be the top. I'm going to do a little bump on either side like that, and then I'm going to just connect those in one big round fish tank. Kind of looks like a cauldron right now since it's black, but it's going to be a fish tank. It'll be fine. So now I'm going to add just a couple of pieces of kelp or seaweed in my fish tank so my fish is not lonely. He needs some plant life. He might get shy. He might want to hide. You don't want to fill your fish tank up too much though. Notice that as I'm adding these little pieces of seaweed, I'm leaving the center blank. So we are going to leave the center of this without any sort of scenery on it. So just 2 pieces of seaweed there. Now I'm going to color in. I'm going to do a sort of wave up here for my water line, and I'm going to color the rest of this in blue. And that is okay to cover up the center because it's all going to be one solid color, and that is fine. But you don't want any scenery up here, no bubbles, no pieces of seaweed, no sand castle for your fishy. You want that center bit, if you're doing a sky, you don't want a cloud right there. You want your center bit to be empty. And I guess I'm going to do an outline here because I'm totally covering my seaweed up with this color if I'm not careful. So color in your background. You want a nice solid background, as solid as you can get it. You don't want it super dark or anything, but like you don't want it black, but you want a solid color. I'm going to go back and fill in that little white speck right there because, like I said, I want it a nice, solid, smooth background as much as I can. I'm still totally coloring over my seaweed. I'm just really bad at that today. That's okay. Do this last little bit. Okay, so there is my fish tank, and now on this, I'm going to set that aside, and on my other circle, I am going to draw my fish. And my fish is going to be not too big, just kind of in the center of my paper. I'm going to draw a goldfish. Give him little fins. He can have a top fin, I guess. Not really sure. It's been a while since I looked at a goldfish, you guys. I should have probably looked at a picture before I did this guy, huh? We're going to color him in. Don't worry, I'm going to add some eyes and stuff to him in a minute. He won't be just a completely featureless goldfish. There's my goldfish, and now we are going to give him an eyeball. I think he needs an eyeball, and maybe a smile. He's a happy goldfish. So, now what you are going to do is you are going to glue these two together, so back to back, so that the side you colored is on the outside. You want to make sure you line them up so that they're straight. That way, when you flip them over, so here's my fish tank, my fishy is going up and down too. If I'm not careful and I do it this way, then my fishy is going to be upside down in my fish tank. And I mean, that's a look, but it's not what we're going for. So we're going to glue them together like that, but we're going to have the straw in the middle. So we're going to squish it into the middle here, like right about there. I'm going to go ahead and spread out my little, well, maybe I'll have that in the bottom. That way, that's pretty thick. If you have a bendy straw, maybe keep that at the bottom so that you can really squish your straw between the papers without having to worry about that part. It doesn't want to squish very much. So we are going to take our glue stick. We are going to put glue all over the back of this guy and all over the back of our other one, like so. We're going to set our straw in there, and we're going to put this guy down again, making sure that I have him facing the right direction. And we are going to squish and hold it down just so that that straw really gets squished and so that the glue gets pressed. The straw is going to want to try to spring open, and that will take apart your glue to some extent. And that's okay a little bit, but we don't want a lot of that happening. So I'm actually going to pick it up. I don't want this side to be the only side with a lump. You can move your straw around a little bit if you need to adjust its position. And now you have a two-sided, whoops, he's coming apart up top. You have a two-sided optical illusion here. So what you're going to do is you're going to spin it around in your hand. And right now it's spinning pretty slow. And I don't know how well this will pick up on camera, but if you spin it really fast, eventually your brain is going to interpret it in a way that it looks like the fish is inside the fish tank, because you'll be moving it around and around so fast that your brain is seeing both images so quickly that it can't tell them apart anymore. And so when your brain interprets the message it's getting from your eyes, it is going to see a fish in a fish tank. I hope you guys have fun with this. Try it out with a couple different scenes and let us know what works. You're welcome to email us your submissions, your little optical illusions if you want. All of our web addresses are on our website. We would love to hear from you. Thank you.